Alastair, how did you assess that match? Obviously a very goal-heavy first half, but probably faded a little bit towards the second. And
they just their big fellas didn't get any smaller as the game wore on, unfortunately. We're really pleased with the young Will Dawson was playing only his 4th or 5th game of AFL footy, and he got a pretty big task against different stages in the game on Sam Darcy. So we thought he acquitted himself pretty well, and Darcy ended up kicking 4 goals, but 3 of them came in the last quarter, and 1 or 2 of them weren't on Will anyway. So, but yeah, they were just a bit tougher and stronger in the contest than we were. We battled manfully, really. We won clearances, and I think contested ball ended up being pretty even for the game, which is a strength of the Bulldogs side at the best of times. So to actually match them in those 2 stats was really pleasing for us, and had us in the contest. But they were just a bit too strong in the end for us. So their use of the ball and the utilisation of their numbers around the ball by hand or foot is very, very classy and one of the best in the competition. And so that enabled them the significant stat in the game or 2 stats that hurt us the most was time in forward half and an inside 50 differential. And when you're losing those stats by significant margins, it's pretty hard to win the game.
You've spoken a lot this year about fade-outs, specifically the Gold Coast one. Was there any similarities or trends that you didn't focus or address this week?
No, I thought we battled manfully for the whole game. As you probably noticed, we were a bit hamstrung with some sore players, so we hung in there as best we could. But as I said, their bigger fellas didn't get any smaller as the game wore on, and they got some opportunities to beat us in the air pretty convincingly in the end. So, but we're pleased with the endeavour of our group, and they scored the first 2 goals of the game within about a minute, and then they scored another 2 goals right on half time with about a minute to go. They scored another 2. So in between that, we're pretty formidable, and then to halfway through the 3rd quarter, I think the game's pretty even, but the last 40 minutes they were just too good for us.
How are Davies-Uniacke and Xerri?
Well, LD's out of the was ruled out of the game with protocols, but I think Big X is okay.
What happened there with Big X? Because he fell down late and then obviously play it.
Yeah, well, I didn't see anything. There's probably 2 things that I'm not an expert on, and that's umpiring and concussion. So I probably won't make mention of either one of them.
But he took a while to come off, and then obviously came off. And did you rule him out, or was he just?
Just had to get assessed by a docs, and I think he's fine.
What about Nick Larkey's knee or leg?
Yeah, he just got knocked to the knee, so he was able to come back on. Probably curtailed him a little bit. Looked like he was going to kick 20 at one stage there. If we did the multiplication at, he missed that one right on quarter time, didn't he? That was a bugger. Put us a couple up, but we had a good start to the start of the game in terms of the first quarter and putting some pressure on the Dogs. And he had a really good start to the game, but we just couldn't maintain it, unfortunately.
Alastair, another really good performance by McGurcher, but also just the turnover game tonight by your team. That was a real key feature where on turnover they just punished you on the scoreboard. Yeah.
Well, you looked at your stats well. I think they kicked about 10 goals from turnovers in the front half. Their front half, our back half. So you're right. We just couldn't get out of our back end as well as we'd like, and that ended up being a pretty significant score source for them.
Is Is that a balance as to how much you take the game on? I think Bevo even made mention of it, when you guys did get through that first wall, second wall in defensive half, you were able to punish them. It looked like it was quite an attacking game style when you did get it through those first couple of waves.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty, and Collingwood, who sit on top of the ladder, they've got this uncanny capacity to be able to know when to go fast and when to go slow, and that's the game, because you can't play at breakneck speed for a whole 130 minutes, and nor can you play really, really slow measured footy for 130 minutes. And the really, really good sides are the ones that can just change gears and know when it's the right time to change gears. And I think that's what got us tonight. I think the Dogs are a more polished and experienced side than us with ball in hand, and that was the difference in my view, because a lot of the other parts of the game were pretty similar. But their capacity to just change gears and change angles of the ball, and they just did it a little bit better than what we did.
Did you hear Dennis's pre-game speech?
Yeah, I was part of the huddle, but to be fair, it was pretty loud, and then there was the delay once it got to the crowd compared to what Dennis was saying. So it was pretty hard to hear every word, but the crowd reaction suggested that they were pretty pumped with what he had to say.
Yeah, I gave a few of them a bit of a clip in their performance. Was that a theme of the week, or was that news to them?
He did.
Yeah, just a bit of a few of them had a bit to answer for tonight
Right.
compared to last week.
Yeah, I didn't hear what he had to say, so we can't comment on it.
I think we were a bit worried when they kicked the first two about his pre-match.
Yeah, they got to wait to a fly, but anyway, we were able to recover and get ourselves back into the contest at quarter time, and as I said, up until 15 minutes into the third quarter, it was a really, really even game of footy. But probably with LDU going out and Nick just getting that bang to the neck, that probably bang to the knee that curtailed him a little bit. It just probably made it tough for us to be able to compete at that level for the full 4 quarters.
What did you make of the celebrations tonight? It was obviously a big night for the club.
Yeah, well, we're the third club that celebrated their 100-year anniversary after the Dogs and Hawthorn did it earlier in the year, and it's been a special week for our footy club, and hopefully many more years to come for our club. Good stuff. Thank you.